Let me tell you a secret. High income does not equal to wealth. There's plenty of people making more than $100,000, even $200,000, but they're living paycheck to paycheck, not because of low income, but because of a few silent wealth killers. Today, I'm going to talk about 7 silent wealth killers which are keeping you poor. I'll rank them in the reverse order and hang on till the end because most people completely miss rank 1. Hi, and welcome to the Money Matters MD show. I'm your host, Dr. Abhishek Gadre, and I help high income professionals like you take control of your money. All right, so let's jump right into rank number 7, which is your car. Let's talk about what's exactly the maximum car payment that you should be really able to afford. And it's really simple. It's $0. I know it's a hot take, but I really don't think most people should have a car payment. Now, if you can't afford something, just don't buy it. That's a mind-blowing idea to a lot of people, but I think that's a very basic financial concept that most people should follow, and especially people in the higher income brackets, and especially high-income professionals fall into this rat race of lifestyle inflation, and despite having a high income, they remain poor. Now, you won't believe what rank 6 is. It's your own financial advisor. The financial advisory AUM fees, which is the assets under management fees, usually average around 1%. Now, a 1% AUM fee compounded over a 30-year investing time horizon costs up to 25% of your entire net worth. Yes, you heard that right. It's 1/4 or more of your entire net worth in your career. Now, if you don't believe me, it's just a simple math calculation. I've done a whole separate video on this very topic, but it's just compounding working against you. Just so you know, this is not financial advice. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Now, rank number 5 is your investment expense ratios. Now, these are the expense ratios that you pay for your ETFs and mutual funds, and they quickly add up exactly just like your financial advisory AUM fees. It's again compounding working against you. Now, if you buy a very expensive mutual fund, and the extreme example is something called a loaded mutual fund. By the way, I was sold a loaded mutual fund by my ex-financial advisor. There was a 6% load fee upfront, and if you invest, for example, $100,000, you pay $6,000 upfront, and you only invest $94,000 in the actual investment. Can you believe this is still legal and these investments still exist till date and are being sold by financial advisors to you? Now, most investors will do just fine by investing in a low-cost, broadly diversified index fund or ETF-based portfolio. Now, I have plenty of examples of different portfolios on my channel. If you're interested, go check it out. I recently published a video of a simple 3-fund portfolio and actually a modern take on it, a 2.0 version of that traditional 3-fund portfolio. Now, in general, the financial industry is moving towards lower costs, but not all new trends are good. Now, I would try to generally focus on the lower cost and more broader portfolios rather than more focused and thematic ETFs. I don't think following a short-term trend is a good idea for a long-term portfolio which is supposed to serve you over the next several decades. Rank number 4 is student loans. Now, this is big, especially for physicians and even non-physicians. Now, the growing student loan debt is a completely crazy story for Americans because the rate of growth of student loans has completely outpaced the rate of growth of income of an average American household. Now, you really need to figure out how to deal with them upfront. Now, a lot of professionals, especially in the medical side and physicians who have several $100,000 worth of student loans, just kind of give up and put it on the side and just stop looking at it and just keep making the minimum payments. I think that's not a good idea. I think you really need to face it head on and bite the bullet and come up with a game plan to get rid of the student loan as fast as humanly possible. Now, once you get out of debt and hit that $0 net worth, that's exactly when you actually start developing a positive net worth, and it's never coming down. Now, I'll tell you from my personal experience from me and my wife, once you have completely paid off your student loan debt in full, you will never look back and you'll be so thankful to just not ever think about it again. Now, rank number 3 is not investing in yourself. Now, maybe you're learning a new career skill, maybe you're advancing in your profession. Maybe you're switching your profession completely, or maybe you're investing in yourself to learn about financial literacy. I think you should really consider investing in your own human capital, especially when you're younger. Now, a lot of people are just worried about what the S&P 500 is doing, and they're not focusing on their own personal growth. By the way, I do have a few affiliate links in the description down below with a list of few of my favorite personal finance books and a few other resources. You can check them out if you're interested. Now, rank number 2 is your own house that you're living in. Now, housing affordability crisis is not a new thing, but it's just continuing to get worse and worse. And federal interest rates are certainly higher than before, and mortgages are no longer sub 3% anymore. There's no free money. You really have to think about how much house can you really afford. Now, I did do a separate video about the math of how much house can you actually afford. If you're interested, I'll put the link in the description below. But a lot of people are completely house poor. It's not like they're owning their house, it's a house owning them. Now, a bigger and bigger proportion of your paycheck is going towards your mortgage and property taxes and insurance and upkeep of the property. I'm speaking with experience. Once you buy the house, it doesn't end there. It's just getting started. You might now want to upgrade your HVAC system. Maybe you want to buy new solar panels or do your backyard. All of this costs money. You're not going to leave your house empty. You're going to want to fill it up with furniture. And all of this costs money and keeps adding up and piles on. Now you're going to ask me what's really left. You already talked about everything, and the most expensive thing you could possibly own was your house, and I already covered that. Now, what's rank number 1? Now, the rank 1 silent wealth killer is not having a plan. Not being intentional with your money is the biggest problem you can have. Now, if you don't know exactly how much you're spending every single month and you don't actually have a budget, which a lot of people don't, that's a big problem. I think the first thing you can do in being intentional is have a plan. And having a plan starts with having a budget. Now, don't be afraid of putting numbers on a simple Excel sheet as to how much you're making every single month as a family and how much you're spending every single month. And that's exactly how you figure out how much you can actually save and how much you're paying in taxes. Now, there are a few different concepts that I cover on my channel. I call them micro budgeting and macro budgeting. If you're interested, you can go check them out. But I really think having that micro budget and macro budget in place gives you an intentional plan to follow every single year. Now, one important number that you really need to know if you want to be intentional with your money is your net worth. You need to know what your assets are and what your liabilities are, and you need to know separately what your liquid net worth is, which excludes your primary residence. Now, when time comes to retire, you may not want to necessarily sell your primary residence. You will still need to live somewhere, and you will generate your income from your liquid portfolio. Now, you need to know what your portfolio target is, what that financial independence number really is, so that you can work towards it. If you don't have a target, how are you going to go build towards it? Now, which of these 7 silent wealth killers that I talked about today are you struggling with right now? Comment down below and let me know. Now, for me personally, it was point number 6. It was my own financial advisor who I ended up firing. Now, if you learned something useful today, please like and share my video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching Money Matters MD. Over and out.